Hello.
Hey,
How's it going?
good. It's nice to see you.
Nice
Um,
to see you too.
I waiting on where are we? But where are you at today?
I'm in my hometown in Stillwater, Minnesota. I'm actually about to go to the airport after this and head back to LA. But yeah, I'm by the river.
Fun. That's a
Yeah,
great vacation.
a nice little spot. It's not too cold yet, so still like doable to be outside here.
Yeah.
Where are you at?
I am in Colorado right now. So
Nice.
it was cold this morning. It was like 30 degrees, but it's warmed up.
Nice. Gotcha. Are any like ski areas open yet or no?
Yeah, they had opening weekend a couple weeks ago. So
Cool.
yeah.
Gotcha. Corbin and I got the Icon Pass this year, so we can come up and snowboard and stuff. It'll be awesome.
That's awesome.
What's good?
Hey.
What up?
How's it going, man?
Going? I
Good
just
to see you.
got some Chipotle, chicken quesadilla.
Your go-to quesadilla?
Oh yeah, all day, every day.
I'm a burrito. I love a good burrito.
Yeah,
I'm a burrito guy.
burrito for sure.
Well, stoked that you guys are able to chat with us. And thanks so much for joining Taloha on Giving Tuesday.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Excited to talk about some mental health.
Yeah.
It's important stuff.
Yeah. So before we get into some of the questions, I just wanted to let anybody know who hasn't heard of To Write Love on Arms before, a little bit about us and kind of what we do. So we're a nonprofit. Our mission is to present hope and find help for people who are struggling with depression, addiction, self-injury, and suicide. So we work to connect people with mental health resources and provide scholarships for care. And more than anything, we're working so we can all live in a world where it's okay to talk about mental health and ask for help. So we're super excited that Why Don't We is wanted to partner with us for Giving Tuesday, a day that's already a day of global generosity, but we're aiming to make it a day of hope. So together we're using our voices to remind people who may be struggling that they're not alone. We've also set a goal to raise $10,000 today. So you can help us by actually donating right now. It's linked to this live.
Let's go.
Yeah. And dollar helps us make it possible for us to continue this work into 22. So, but now I want to get into some questions for you guys. And for anybody who's tuning in, if you have questions for Jonah or Corbin, you are welcome to submit them in the Q&A, and we'll get to those at the end. But let's just start off. Why is mental health important to you guys in the band?
I mean, I think mental health is just as important, if not more important, as physical health. It's just how you are in the world, and I think for me, I've really started paying attention more to my mental health over the last year or two, and I got a therapist actually last year, and just like sort of investing in my own mental okayness and making sure I was fine has helped me so much in the long run. And I feel myself being more creative and more outgoing, and just feeling more comfortable in my skin because of it. And I think for a long time I thought about asking for help or talking to people almost as like a weakness, or I was a little embarrassed.
Yeah.
And I think just kind of crushing that stigma and being like, no, even people who are totally good and happy should be talking about how their mental health is. I think it's
Yeah.
really important, just that we continue that conversation. And I think anyone in your life, if you're not doing well, like would love to sit down and talk with you about it. I think that's really important. And there are so many people who care, but if you don't talk to them, they're not going to know.
Yeah. I resonate with a lot shared.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah, I was gonna say too, like Jonah nailed it. But like part of what we've experienced being in a band and having a positive effect on people is like exactly that. And it's like, you know, people come to us every time we're in a city, or, you know, in our DMs or on Twitter or whatever. And just the amount of like, you've saved my life,
Mm.
saved my lives that we've gotten. It's just really great. It's just a crazy thing to wrap your head around at first. Um, because like that's a really big thing. And so I think, you know, just kind of being looped into that world, and you know, really paying attention to how our fans are doing and stuff has really, you know, brought us like in the loop for a long time now on just like being aware of mental health, and being aware of like the people around you, and you know, always trying your best to like leave a positive mark on someone every day. And that's something that I really like to live by, is just like, you know, the more you give, the more you receive, I feel like. And giving happiness is like the simplest thing to do, man. It's as simple as saying like, oh, your hair looks really good today. And like, pff, that little thing can make someone's entire week. It's
Dude,
like,
thanks, man. Aw.
No, you guys are sharing. I mean, even working for a mental health nonprofit, like even everybody who works there has to remind themselves of like, hey, you got to take care of your mental health too. You know, like you got to carve out some time. And like even today, on one of our busiest days, I went to a counseling appointment, and I'm like, I mean, this was when he was available, and I just needed to fit it in. And I was like, hey, it's a busy day, but it's worth it, you know? So love that. Has the conversation about mental health for you guys changed over the past few years?
I think just we've just gotten a little more like aware and conscious of it. You know, I feel like there's always like learning to do. And um, you know, for us, especially as of the last 2 years, like the world has been really, really tough. And you know, I don't like talking about it because it's the obvious, and because, you know, like anything to get out of like this space room. But um, you know, for us, I think like coming off the road and having that adrenaline high every night of like just being on stage and feeling the love and feeling you know, that like purpose in your life kind of just like disappeared for a good little while, like just out of thin air. And I found myself like at home folding my laundry on my bed, and I was like, this is crazy. And so I think, you know, there was a time where like all five of us were kind of feeling a little bit like, just like not down in the dumps, but just a little bit like, whoa, like life will hit you in the face sometimes. And like, you know, Jack had a moment where we were writing our Good Times and the Bad Ones album, where like he was just getting riddled with anxiety, and just like having some, he was going through some things and just having some mental health struggles. And I think that was like the first real case within the band where we were like, yo, this is a really important thing. Like, we got to make sure that like we're okay, and like that our boys are okay, and that like the people around us are okay. And I mean, in the end, everything's fine, which is great. But it's, you know, it'll definitely key you in when it's like right in front of your face, you know, this whole just like being aware of your mental health and like actually having to take action about it is,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, totally. You nailed it. I think it's been a hard couple of years for everyone, and we experienced that in a crazy way of like literally going from being on tour all the time to in our bedrooms. And I'm sure people all around the world experienced that exact thing in their own ways of like it literally affected everyone. So I think it's just important to be, like you said, Corbin, just like very caring and try to just be kind to people around you, and keep that train moving in the right direction, because everyone's going through it.
And I,
That I thing's big.
yeah, I found too that like at least for me, and I just encourage anybody to try who might not already, but just like, you know, there's always like two sides to every situation, right? And you know, it's really easy to dwell on, you know, like negatives and the world coming down on you. And but I always find that within every negative there's some glimmer of a positive at least. And so for me, in my darkest times, it really just helps to for me to try to take a step back and just look at like, okay, what's negative in my life right now and what's like realistically negative, and like, you know, on the flip side, what's positive and what's realistically positive, and like what can I latch onto on this side that'll maybe clear my mind a bit and kind of ease the tension on the way I'm thinking about certain things too, because like, you know,
Yeah.
having you know, bad mental health, like that'll really change the way you think too, unfortunately. And that's like, it's tough to get out of that rut sometimes, but like grasping onto a little bit of positive wherever you can find it, I've found, you know, can really help and be like the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be big. Like it could be small things. It could be like, you just made your bed, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, anything. Which
Yeah.
I bed today. I was like,
Woo!
hey.
Let's go.
There's no fresh room.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I don't know if you'd have anything to add, but I know you guys. I mean, we're all kind of what could potentially feel like coming out of a pandemic or doing things that are a little bit not isolating. So you just released a single, and we're thinking about, touring in the future. How are you thinking about, going from one very specific lifestyle for a while to then now going to prioritize your mental health on the road and back to the grind and the hustle of things? What's kind of your...
Yeah. I think just like taking sort of what we've learned over this time of like really prioritizing mental health and then applying it to life as we know it outside of a pandemic as well will be super key. And maybe that's the positive that we got out of these last couple of years, is really being able to check in on people and make sure everyone's okay, and check in on each other and checking on ourselves. And yeah, I think prioritizing just happiness and checking in on friends. I think that's the main takeaway.
I always feel my best on tour too. Like,
Mm,
for us being in the band, like we get, hit with so much purpose on tour, and you just get to feel firsthand like the real impact that we have the privilege of making on people. And I just miss that so much, and I feel like getting out on the road is gonna be like, for me personally at least too, just a revival of
mm,
like my sense of who I am and like, my
yeah,
purpose.
Mm-hmm.
um Yeah, I think the transition will be pretty easy. I think we'll get homesick a little bit at first, because we've all kind of built like lives out here in LA for the past 2 years. So, leaving that behind is, I think, going to feel a little bit like when we moved to LA for the first time, and kind of left the life that we had
yeah,
in our hometowns behind. Um, but I'm really excited, and I think it's going to be good. I think we're all just itching for it, and
yeah,
there's really nothing like seeing your fans in person and like getting to show them love and like feel the love, and just getting to be in a new city every single day, and like,
Mm-hmm.
just experience food, culture. Like, it's just amazing. So
And that's the beauty of live music, is it really like brings people together in the best way. I feel it like we're on stage and I look out and I see people who've been thinking about this night for the last couple weeks and have been planning their outfits and getting together with friends and meeting up with people they've never met before. And it's like this culmination of happiness, and the fact that we get to be sort of a key part in that is such a blessing. And like, I think, I don't know, it's just a beautiful community. And like, I think the more we can do to help encourage people to check in on each other and have fun and like be young and you know what I mean? Like it's
yeah.
we have this life and it can be so beautiful. So, let's make it beautiful. It's good.
And it really seems like you guys as a band have a sense of community. Like you guys not only care about each other, but you protect each other's like mental health, and you care when someone is, feeling things that may be heavier. Like that's...
Yeah, that's a big thing. Like, um, at the end of the day, like, we're the root of this thing, and us five are like the driving force. And like, if we're not okay, how can we expect anything else to be okay? And
Yeah.
that's become like just pretty apparent. And also, like, you just never want to see someone you love like
Mm-hmm.
face, like it takes a toll on the heart. And so, yeah, it's just, again, stressing the importance of like making sure the people around you are okay. And like,
Yeah.
it's all right to be vulnerable. I think the vulnerability aspect of it is probably what scares people away a little bit,
I
or
think,
maybe
yeah,
fear.
and I think also accepting the fact that like it's okay not to be okay too. Like that is all right. And I know that's sort of like a cliche saying, but like
We say it
it's
all.
not the end of the world. Yeah, it's not the end of the world if you're not okay. It's just a matter of like talking to it and being kind of at peace with that. And like when I feel that, my go-to is like getting out of my house or wherever I am and going on a hike or getting out in nature. Like I really like to. I grew up sort of out in the woods by a lake and stuff, so I would always like go on walks and I think part of who I am is just connecting back down to my roots, calling my parents, or like going on a walk. And like you never know. I feel like nature always rewards you when you go out into it. Like you never know what you're gonna see, but you might see an elk or a mountain goat or something come walking right up to you, and you're like, dang, I would not have experienced that if I didn't do
Yeah.
this. And like it can totally shift your outlook and make your problems feel a little bit less. I don't know. I think that's
Mhm.
Yeah.
important.
I resonate that. I just moved to a place, a specific kind, I mean, Colorado. So the nature,
Yeah.
basically. I moved from the ocean, which is incredible, to the mountains, but it makes me feel so much more grounded just
Yeah.
Oh,
out in nature, like this specific kind. And
Corbin and I love Colorado so
oh,
much. Like it's
if
one of
I
our favorite places.
could, I would live there right now, today.
yeah, I mean, there's just nothing like it. Yeah, so I felt immediately a shift in my mental health when I moved here. Even though moving and everything is stressful, I was like, this is my place
Mhm.
to be extra grounded.
Mhm.
I love that. I mean, you were kind of touching on something that I wanted to mention, or ask you guys, like, why do you think it is so hard for people to speak up when they're struggling with their mental health?
I think, at least for me, especially growing up as a male, it's a little bit like
Mm-hmm.
not manly or something to talk about your feelings. And I struggled with that for a while. Like, is that going to make me less cool to my friends if I'm like open with them about my emotions and if I'm not doing well or something? And I'm sure, I mean, I don't know, I guess girls probably can't quite relate to that exactly the same, but like everyone kind of deals with that in their own way. It's just a vulnerable thing. Like you're talking about like the core of who you are and how you are as a human. And like it's a really important talk. And I think that's the most important kind of talk. So it's like, I think, yeah, that's been the hardest part for me, is just like getting around that sort of stigma in our culture of like, am I gonna look like a, you know, not strong human being because of this or something? Like I don't know. I think no. I would argue that that is the most strong kind of human being to be able to talk about that.
Yeah, it takes a lot of bravery.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I pretty much nailed it too. Like, and also like part of it could be like, you know, I feel like people probably get stuck in this like I don't want to bother anybody with my problem kind of state, which is unfortunate because I feel like that's not really the case. Like, at least in my experience, anytime that I've talked to someone about something I'm going through, or someone has talked to me about it, like it's really easy to just like care, like I've never felt bothered by anybody like wanting to come to me to like feel better, you know what I mean? Like if
Yeah.
like wow, this person like trusted me to come to me with this kind of thing. And it's a tough thing to not overthink in your head, like, oh,
Yeah.
if I go to this person, like, am I going to be bothering them? Like, do they need more on their plate with my problems? And a lot of times I feel like that just affects you negatively even more, because then you're like forming this whole like false reality in your head, and like assuming the worst when that really might not even be the case.
Yeah, I mean, I will say in my life, when anyone's actually ever come to me about it, it's like a really special thing. Like it's
Yeah,
really it like I actually take it to heart, and I'm like, whoa, thank you for trusting me with this. Like
yeah,
it's cool. It's not like, oh, this is annoying or this is a burden or something. Like I think it's exact, but that's exactly the other side of it. Is like, is it okay? Is this even important enough to talk about with
Yeah,
friends that they're gonna care? Or like,
yeah,
I don't know.
Well, I mean, for me, my experience is vulnerability extremely scary. Like, I
yeah.
am like,
Feel you.
I don't like to cry, but like, it's such a normal human experience to
Yeah,
express emotions.
yeah,
There's just something about vulnerability that can be so scary. And then to convince yourself, like, to push through your vulnerability and then to also like share that with someone else can be like so intimidating,
yeah.
like, on how they respond.
Yeah, I still struggle with that today. Like that's a big thing for me is like being vulnerable. I get uncomfortable in vulnerable states, and like, you know, it's definitely like a mental barrier to break through to speak on that kind of thing. But like to anybody that's feeling like that, like I encourage you to go for it. You know, it's like cliff jumping. Like you'll
Yeah.
never know that falling in the water really doesn't hurt that bad if you don't jump off the cliff. You know. Um,
True, unless you jump on a rock, so don't
yeah,
do that.
yeah.
Very
Land off.
No,
That's funny.
Just I encourage people to talk. It's super. It's step one to like some of the most important conversations you'll have in your life.
I also encourage people to make art. I think art is one of the best outlets if you're feeling stressed or got a lot weighing on you. Like
A good point.
I think, I mean, for us, like making a song is just about the best kind of way to channel that into the world. And then it's one of the most special things, at least for me, when we put something out and then other people are listening to our stories and our vulnerability, and it relates to whatever they're doing in their life. That's like one of the coolest things I think we can do as human beings, is just be open about what we're going through, because I guarantee you there's a million other people going through the exact same thing, but you won't know that unless you talk about it. So
Mm.
I think it's important, and art is a good way to do that. I mean, there's a lot of different ways, but yeah.
Well, I mean, I just rediscovered color again as an adult, where
Yeah,
I've been coloring with. I have a small human, my son at home, and he's obsessed with coloring right now. And I started coloring with him, and I'm like, this is so comforting. So yeah, art is a great
that's
way.
awesome. That's so cool. We should
Um,
start coloring, man.
Yeah,
yeah,
you colored in a minute. I need to get
It's
on
been
the.
a minute.
Yeah,
Just
like
draw like a car or something.
yeah.
Yeah.
me. So we've been so because of the last 20 months have been so hard. Today we've been inviting people to share things that have brought them hope. Doesn't have to be big. Could be really small things. Anything that kind of carried them through this time. Like me, it was FaceTiming with my besties, really good bowl of mac and cheese, and like tiny hugs for my little son. So I didn't know if you guys wanted to share some things that brought you hope this year.
For me, I think we do like family Zoom calls and do like games on the Zoom calls back to my family, because I was out in LA and my brother's in Omaha, Nebraska. So it was just sort of like the best way to get on and play some games. That was always great. And then also just the idea that the world will come back at some point, and we will be able to go on tour, and we will be able to hug the people who have helped us so much in our lives and mean the world to us. Our fans are literally everything to us, and I think that's been a huge hope, is like seeing people's comments and tweets and everything about the music, and hoping for us to come to their city and all that. Like it's like that's what got me through a lot of it too, is like imagining that first time really stepping back on stage and seeing the fans' faces and meeting people again in meet and greets and all of that, and feeling that in the world.
Mhm. That's been the biggest thing for me too. Honestly, is just I feel kind of like I said earlier, like I feel my best and I feel the most myself when I'm on a tour bus and with the guys, just like living the life. And yeah, I feel like my hope has just been, you know, every day is one day closer to being back out on the road and like seeing the fans and just like being able to get back to just like spread love and spread joy and spreading positivity and like giving people once in a lifetime experiences, and like that there's just so much purpose behind all that for me. And I just get so much joy from all of that, and like, oh, I just miss it. So for me, it's been like every minute that passes is a minute closer. uh,
Yeah.
and in the meantime, just been like trying to keep busy and, you know, living some aspects of normal life. And I've actually like found joy in doing my own laundry. And
It's good life
I
skill.
need to discover that.
yeah,
I don't have joy yet for that.
the way I pull the joy, or where I pull the joy from, is the way my drawer looks when all my shirts are.
Oh, okay. Okay.
The
There you
inspiration
go.
It was satisfying.
from picking out an outfit with like a clean closet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. Here, I'm tracking.
Um,
Well, I want to make sure we get to some questions from people who are tuning in. So there's a lot. Gotta find something. Well, here's our first one. Tips for anxiety. And you know, that could be, you know, you can touch on anxiety or depression or anything that you just tips for your mental health.
yeah.
I think I've definitely had some serious run-ins with anxiety, and it comes up once in a while, and it really feels like it's like the world is closing in on you at times. Like it's like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna get out of this? And like, just know that you've been okay up until now. You've gotten this far, and it's gonna continue to be okay. And trying to, in those moments, like close your eyes and like take some deep breaths and be like, no, you know, I am okay. I've made it this far, and this feeling is only temporary, and it's only a feeling. It's not real life fully.
Yeah.
It's like your brain just telling you that everything's not okay, which is false. It is going to be okay. It is going to be okay. I think that's what's helped me a lot.
Yeah. And just I saw this thing on TikTok the other day, and it was like this method. It's like a scientifically proven method that helps kind of reduce stress and anxiety in a given moment. And I haven't personally tried this, but I've planned on trying it the next time I'm feeling, you know, a little overwhelmed. And it's just to like go to the sink or wherever and just like douse your face with cold water, and it releases. I forget what it's called, but it has something to do with like simulating that your body is in ice water, is in cold water, because the way your body reacts to that is it like releases these chemicals and whatever, that really focus on like your oxygen supply and whatnot. But it's actually been proven that yeah, it's been proven that it helps instantaneously relieve anxiety and stress and whatever. And so I guess it has something to do with maybe the adrenaline rush that your body's like, oh my God, like, am I in an ice lake? But yeah, and I think there's even like some hints of that in like Islam and like Buddhism and like in some religious practices that are like proven for thousands of years that like people have been doing this. So I plan on trying it. So I encourage you guys to try it too, and maybe see if that's something that works for you. I don't know. I'm a big science guy, so something like that.
No, that's tight. I'm gonna try it. I want to try it.
You should look into if you get really into cold water therapy and breathing, you should look into Wim Hof. he's
Yo, we were with this dude named John Bellion. He's the singer songwriter, amazing guy, and we had a session with him, and he had us do a Wim Hof exercise before we wrote the song, and it was so sick. It was like we actually were able to like hold our breath for so much longer than we thought, and like I could imagine myself sitting in a cold ice bath after that and like feeling like I was okay. I felt like my mind was like the strongest it's ever been. It was so cool.
That's awesome. I know we're at 30 minutes. I don't know if you guys still have some time.
I should probably go kind of soon because I have to go to the airport,
Okay.
but I'm down to stay on for another few minutes.
All
Yeah.
right, we do one. Let's finish with this. Just any advice for someone who is looking to prioritize or advocate for their own mental health? Real quick question, just real simple.
Yeah. I think one, splash cold water on your face. No, but really just I would say in any moment where you're overwhelmed, my advice would be really try your best to like take a step back and try to look at whatever situation you're feeling anxious about from both sides and try to figure out for yourself where the root of your anxiety is coming from, because if you can figure that out, then it becomes much easier to focus on something and attack it and nip it at the bud. And then also like realizing that like most of the stuff I feel like we get anxious about with just anxiety specifically, a lot of that's just our mind like making a situation seem a lot bigger than it really is. And you know, life is a big beautiful thing, and you know, one little aspect of it, don't let it like take you down. You know, there's so much more, and the future is always bright. And like again, like Jonah said, he said it perfectly. Like it's just a feeling, and it's within you, and so you can control that, and you can fight that battle with, I guess, against yourself. But you can win that battle too. It's all just within yourself, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I would encourage just like talk to people, talk to your friends, talk to your parents, whoever you feel comfortable with. Really, that's all that matters. Um, and also look, I mean, a lot of health insurance includes therapy and talking to a counselor or someone. Maybe talk to a counselor at school. However, just kind of like start thinking about your means of being able to talk about how you're doing, because I think that's the main thing, is just feeling a safe space to talk about how you're doing. And I mean, if you want to just start the ball rolling, those are some options, and that's helped me so much. And I think anyone, even if you feel like you're doing pretty well, like therapy is like taking a class in yourself in a way. Like you get to know way more about yourself, and like talk about the hard things, talk about the good things in life, talk about everything. And like really, it's been such a cool journey. I've been in like over a year now, I've been talking to my therapist, and she knows so much about me and can reference names and people from a year ago and talk about, this is how you were feeling then, let's remember that, and now you're feeling like this, and here's what you did then, and that worked, and whatever. Like it's like really a beautiful thing. So I encourage anyone to start that process.
Also, I've seen a couple comments that are saying that people listen to me or read. I think both of those typically are great, like mind easers. You know, reading helps you kind of get your mind off of the craziness and bring you into a creative state where, you know, it's just like passive attentiveness. And there's so many good books. Also, listening to music, like I know most, if not all, the people in here have like a favorite song or a favorite three songs or a comfort song. You know, like really turn to those forms of art and like make the most out of them, because a lot of the reason that art is out there is to, you know, help you feel better or help you relate to something. So you know, really use art to for what it's meant for, and you know, to just appreciate it, and in a lot of ways get your mind off of things that you'd rather not be thinking about or overthinking. So yeah.
Love that. Well, thank you guys so much for taking the time to talk to us, and thank
Of
you to
course.
Yeah,
so,
thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us. I also remember that we did a show with you guys in Nashville a couple years ago, and that was one of my favorite shows. So it just was like such a good vibe in the room. So we should maybe do something more together. That would be really
all
fun.
down. We're
Okay.
down.
Yeah. And
Um,
we're excited about the collab and the merchandise collab and everything. So
yeah,
yeah.
it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
It's gonna be awesome.
Congrats on the new music. That's a big deal.
Thank you. There's more coming.
There's
Woo!
All right.
soon. All
Have
right.
a good one, guys. Thank you for having us.
Guys,
Bye.
have an amazing, what's today? Tuesday? Wednesday?
It's Wednesday.
Oh, have an amazing Wednesday, everybody.
Is it
It's
Wednesday or is it Tuesday?
Tuesday. It's
Oh,
Give
Wow.
Day.
It's
have
Tuesday.
a good day.
Awesome. Bye.
All right. Bye.